Hello. Hello, I've been excited for the stream as always. Hope you're doing fine. Watched Lille last night as well. You watched them, yeah. 2-0 win, wasn't it? What do you think of Zagrova? One of my favourite players for Lille. Adon Zagrova. I would not start Kunku, Palmer, and Neto. I'd save them for the rest of the weekend. We'll get onto that. We're going to make our team today for Chelsea versus Servette. I'll get into my team, then I'll sort of see what you guys think, what's going to happen. I've sort of made something here, of course. Obviously, we've got these guys down here that won't be involved. The Felix signing today. How excited are we about that one? What's up, Sammy? Saying yo. What's up, Jason Groves? Big up in the chat. And sup, Shazeb in the chat. Yeah, mate, this guy's so talented. Yeah, Shagrova, top player. Really good to watch. Really fun to watch. Do you play FM? I do. Haven't played loads this year and haven't played loads lately because I'm waiting for the new one. But I do play it, and I am very open to thinking about doing an FM stream when the new one comes out. If that's something people would be interested in, and we could sort of do tactics on there, that would be quite fun. Maybe do a Chelsea save and sort of try some different tactics out and have fun with that. But yeah, big up, Connor. I hope you're good. Excited for the stream as always. My guy Julius, and if you haven't already, please do drop a like on the video. Haven't checked it or anything yet, so don't worry about that. But where are we at here? Please do drop a like if you haven't already, as it does help me out. Yo, Thomas. What do you think of Neto getting 7, Felix getting number 14? 14 for Felix is fairly expected just because he was 14 at Barca and it was open at Chelsea. Like essentially, obviously, much easier to give that one away, whereas 7, like really fresh with the whole Sterling thing. So I see the outrage in it. I do see it. To an extent, but I'm also very happy he's got the number 7 because I like that number for Neto. So it's cool, isn't it? But I do think the Sterling situation could have been handled slightly better, slightly more underground to stop the outrage that's sort of going to come with it now. Because the media already have enough reasons to jump on our backs. We don't need to keep giving them more. I'm going to turn my fan on because I think it's going to get a little bit hot in here. Yeah, I'm interested. Oh, that's about the FM. Huge respect from Maresca for the way he handled that potentially difficult press. I thought he was excellent in that press conference again today. I think the last few of his press conferences have been unreal. I'm so happy with Maresca in that sense. I think he's handling everything perfectly. Do you think Sterling is finished at Chelsea? I do. I don't think he's washed. I think he'll actually do okay if he moves on somewhere else and he becomes that guy. But he's just, I don't think, for us, I don't think, one, he's going to help us, and I don't think he's also going to he needs to go and be the guy somewhere so that he sort of just has extra freedom to sort of like keep messing up and sort of people not turning on him. Because I think he was done at Chelsea. I am glad he's on his way out personally for the wages that he's on. I just don't think he justifies it. But yeah, I do think he'll probably go somewhere else and be somewhat successful for at least 1 or 2 more years. What do you think of Thiago Motta's 272? There's actually a video on my channel from last year from Bologna, one of my favourite teams to watch. And then this year I'm watching Juve very closely. So there'll probably be another video on my channel in the coming months talking about Motta and his Juve team. But they looked very good the other day. The midfield rotations were brilliant. Cambiasso is brilliant for him. And yeah, it looked good. Maresca is giving me Mourinho vibes in terms of character and how he handles situations in interviews. Absolutely love it. Yeah, in early Mourinho days, I get what you mean in terms of giving a bit of character. He sort of has a bit of a laugh with everybody. Sort of bites back a bit on a few of the questions as well. So yeah, 100%. Good evening, Ninja Gecko. Cool, I watched that. Yeah, let me know what you think, Enzo. Enzo. That's just making me think of Enzo Lafay now. Plays for Roma now. Another one of my favourite teams to watch in Serie A this season with De Rossi at the helm. Wait, Neuer retired? Has that just come out? Has that just broke? I would like to see how we play with this lineup. Gusto Tossin, Levi Vega, Enzo Casado, Madueke Palmer, and Neto with Guiu. Interesting. You see him more like Tuchel in the press conferences, yeah. Oh, he's retired from Germany. Okay. I see him more like Tuchel in the press conferences. I can see that as well in terms of like sort of having a jab, having a bit of fun, and sort of like enjoyable. So yeah, I do see that. I think I agree with that, Ben, as well. So on screen now, I have got what I would probably say is my lineup for tomorrow. I did toy around with not switching as much of the lineup. Like I wanted to keep a little bit more solidity going into the Wolves game, and I did sort of toy with the idea of like starting Colwill, starting Enzo, for example, starting Nkunku. But I've sort of come to this, and Gusto is somebody I really want to rest, especially with Reece, like the minutes of Reece out, and I just want to manage his minutes a bit more. So this is why I've gone for this. And you've said about Mudryk needing minutes. I agree, but I really want to blood Neto's minutes in quickly because he's going to be really important. That's the only reason I put him in. I do want Mudryk to play a big part of this game, whether it's from the start or coming off the bench. I think him and Neto should both be playing minutes in this game. So I do agree that Mudryk needs minutes. I think Enzo should have gone to Atletico Madrid, better suited than Connor, plus playing with Alvarez from River Plate days. Enzo, I think, is going to be so important for Chelsea, though. So I'm not worried about that at all. Or did you mean Enzo Lafay? Just because I said Enzo Lafay. But Enzo Fernandez, I'm more than happy at this club. Like a lot of people losing their minds in the last few days because of him. Still, absolutely every bit of confidence he had. I think he had 30 minutes in one game for Wolves in pre-season, but that was it. So yeah, I agree. I want him to get some minutes in his legs. Basically, with what you can see on screen here, you can pretty much tell the ones that are starting that sort of need minutes that have still played a little bit are these four, I would say. These are the four that I want them to start, even though they're considered first team like sort of players, or at least around that sort of first 13, 14 names. I want them to start. Yes, it's unfair on the likes of Giyu. Yes, it's unfair on the like a Mudryk because they're missing minutes. Even an Nkunku to get minutes in this 10 position, Carney, for example. But I want these players to start. Casado, I thought looked a little bit leggy. I think he needs to get some minutes in his legs as well. I think he needs to sort of just get up to speed. Palmer, I want to see him in that middle role as well, which is another reason why I'd start him. And I understand if he doesn't, but I would do that. So they're the four players that I'd like to start there. Everybody else is sort of like KDH did the press conference today, so I think he's going to start, and I think it almost makes like quite a lot of sense to sort of have him in there, just for the overall sort of fluidity of the team. I'd start Madueke. He deserves it from pre-season. He didn't play the other day. Madueke has to start this game for me. I'll come to the chat in a minute. Action Pong, the reason I put him in is because Reece isn't available, and I really want to rest Gusto. He'd be right up there on my list of players to rest. So that brings Action Pong in. Whether we instead see Disassi starting at right back, literally just to protect, then who knows? But I would definitely be playing Action Pong. Tossin, who is actually in the squad, there was a few rumours that he wasn't. That was just a glitch, like not a glitch, but a technical function, essentially. Misfunction, dysfunction. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Malfunction. But I'd start Tossin with Badiashile. Get again. Rest Colwill. Fofana's not even with the group because he's getting rest. Again, for me, Fofana and Colwill start against Wolves, so I would start these two. Vega, I would also be fairly happy to see Kukurea because he's another one that could probably do with the minutes, same as Casado, in terms of getting a few extra minutes in his legs. But I also think Vega deserves some minutes, so I wouldn't mind seeing him in there too, inverting from that left back into midfield and going back to sort of having him an inverted player alongside so that we can have two direct wingers, especially against Servette, who also seem to play a 4-2-3-1, seemingly press in a 4-4-2. So I'd like to see both of these wingers starting, or even if it's Madueke and Mudryk, just a direct starting wingers on the pitch. And then Jorgensen in goal for me, for sure. I still do think against Wolves, you see Sanchez come back in, you see Cole and Fofana come back in, obviously Gusto. I would still be looking to start Enzo and Lavia against Wolves, which is why I'm sort of saying, like, give Casado's minutes now, get him really getting into, and he'll still get minutes against Wolves even if he doesn't start. Get Neto ready to start, get Palmer ready to start. Jackson at the minute needs to be ready to start, and he needs to be starting all the time. So yeah, and it's not really risking in like it's at Stamford Bridge, so it's not sort of like quality of ground. Plus, Servette's ground is decent anyway. But I just think again, this could just be Nkunku, but again, you've got that same risk. So unless he starts Enzo as an 8, again, but I just wouldn't want to be risking any of them. So like, if I would like to see Palmer, and this is a great game to test it in the number 8 spot with Madueke at right wing, so you get to see that dynamic, which we saw last season, but you get to see it within this framework. So I would do that personally. Can Felix play tomorrow? No. Lienzo said as well. No, Maresca said he wasn't in the squad list, so he'll obviously get up to grips with things at Cobham, and then sort of be ready for the weekend. Vega played for Basel, who are in the Swiss league and a lot better, so he should be more than good enough anywhere in this match. Yeah, and this isn't in just him in midfield, is it? This is him from left back inverting into midfield. And again, he played in midfield for Basel. He played at left centre back in a back four for Portugal under 21s. He's played as a left back. He can do it all. I would start Neto against Wolves as well, yeah, which is why I'd probably start Neto in this game, and then even at 45 or 60 minutes, swap with Mudryk. I wouldn't give Neto the whole game tomorrow. Sorry. Super excited to see Action Pong. Yeah, that'd be brilliant to see him play. Didn't Casado have a few minutes at right back versus Inter? Yeah, he did. I'm not saying he didn't have any minutes, but I'm saying I'd like to same with Jackson. He only got 45 against Inter and then started the other day. Those sort of players that didn't have as much preseason, I'd be looking to give them the minutes tomorrow. Trying to recreate Maresca's tactic on FM24. What role should I use for the midfield and striker? Interesting question. Striker, probably complete forward, so that you still get them that they can drop in, but they'll also make runs in behind. The midfielders, you'd probably go the number 6, probably Regista, so they sit in to sort of control plays like the Lavia role. Then you'd probably have one of your 8s as maybe one of your 8s as an essential. Maybe a deep line playmaker on one side and a box to box on the other, or depends on what personnel. So you could do a box to box on one side, a deep line playmaker on the other, or you could do a centre mid on attack on one side and a box to box on the other, and sort of play around with it like that. And then this could be a deep line playmaker instead. But I'd probably go Regista, deep line playmaker, and box to box, just to see how that balance works with a complete forward and your 2 wingers. See how that works, maybe. Where was we? Did that one. Literally said that about every time. Just answered that. How about Nkunku? Are you sure he'll play against Wolves? Might start tomorrow. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not sure about any of it. Could be Palmer doesn't start and Nkunku does for sure. But Nkunku had a good preseason, so I'd probably rest him here and then start him against Wolves. I'd probably be starting him in Wolves in that attacking 8 position where KDH is. So yeah, my midfield against Wolves, and then Palmer will probably be back out on the right against Wolves. So, which would leave for me Lavia, Enzo, and Kunku to come back in. He needs minutes, and that's a reality. Yeah, I agree. Madueke, Jackson, Palmer, Casado, and Buddy Shield probably all need to start purely from preseason minutes perspective. Yeah. Start Madrid just because I think it's good to build confidence. I do agree. If Neto hadn't have had such little minutes so far, and we're quite dependent on him early on, I really want him to be a big part of this in this squad. Then, yeah, I do want Madrid to get minutes too, but I feel like Neto, even if it's 45 each and they get 45 minutes each, I'd be more than happy with that. Just again to give them minutes. And like Sam Dyker said, Mudryk starts 100% after Maresca says he deserved minutes. Guiu starts over Jackson. Mudryk, Enzo, Guiu for Neto, Palmer, and Jackson. For me, fair enough if Palmer gets rested. Not as annoyed. Jackson, he needs to get minutes because he just doesn't look sharp enough right now. Some actions look good, but some just look lethargic. And in the press, I don't think he's looked good enough either. So I think he needs those minutes. And with Neto, I wouldn't be disappointed if it was Mudryk, as long as Neto then comes off the bench again, gets some minutes in his legs, and then he's ready to start against Wolves. Again, I'm happy with that outcome. But yeah, apart from that, you've nailed it. True. Yeah, give that a go, Enzo. I think Enzo will play because who will captain if there's no Reece and Levi. Yeah, it's true. Maybe Casado. Maybe KDH, which would be crazy because obviously he's just joined, or maybe one of the back line. I don't know. I don't know about the captaincy. So maybe Enzo does play, you're right. Maybe Enzo instead of Palmer. and we see KDH playing on this side instead, like we did in pre-season a little bit. But like I said, I would like to see Palmer in that role. Tosin will captain, yeah, possibly. Probably KDH or Tosin, maybe Palmer. Could Mudryk plays an 8 in the left half space? Not for me. I'd rather him out on the wing personally. Is Tosin in the squad for the qualifier? Yeah, it was a mistake. He is in the squad. Tosin surely is the most logical. Yeah, but by maybe I don't think that's the sort of thing you want to put on Palmer. I think he's better off just being free flow. I wouldn't be giving him captaincy. Hearing the game won't be shown on TV. Yeah, it's not on TV. It's on the Chelsea website. So if you want to watch it, I think it's £4.99 on the Chelsea website. So yeah, that's all I've seen about that in terms of airing it. Yeah, that is all I've heard on that. Is there any other people that we would like to? So quite a few people obviously. Could Zhao play as a striker in this system? I do think he could. I don't think it's optimal. I think I'd rather him in this position or this position first. But I think as a third option, he can sort of cover as a centre forward. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We've got 233 people on Twitter and 60 people on the YouTube. Let me check how many likes we've got early doors. 25 likes early doors. Let's try and double that. Let's try and get that to 50 at least. We've got 59 people in the stream. So if everybody likes it, easy. Very easy to get to. So even if we say Guiu gets to start, like you said, Jackson doesn't. Let's say Palmer doesn't, and Enzo starts. And we see it sort of like this, and then Neto doesn't start, like you say, and Mudryk gets a start. Are people happier or less happy with that? How are we thinking about that? Because then again, like I say, there's so many options. Like it depends what Maresca really wants to do, right? Because he could go out tomorrow at Stamford Bridge and sort of see it as a let's get the job done in 60 minutes. Let's start a fairly strong team. Maybe like one or two changes, like Jorgensen starts, Lavia maybe gets a rest, and Fofana gets a rest, obviously, and then the rest of the team stays pretty much the same. Maybe he does that. For me, Noni has to start, so it's either Neto or Mudryk on the left. I think Noni has to play on the right. He deserves to. Absolutely deserves to after pre-season. If he doesn't start again in a game like this, I think that's unfair, personally. But yeah, it depends what he wants to do. Because, like I say, he could go out for 60 minutes, try and put this game to bed, and then bring people on at after 60. And then in the second leg, we could see a much more rotated side at that point in time before the Palace game. Because then we have, so it goes Servette tomorrow, Sunday Wolves, Servette Thursday, Sunday Palace, and then we got the international break. For me, Caicedo and Jackson have to start. Their lack of press was my biggest issue against City. We need them sharp ASAP, and that's my view as well. That's why I'd start both of them too, because I think they would. I don't think they're both fully at the races yet, and I want to get them fully up to speed because they're important players. It'll be interesting to see how he sees it. Will he completely rotate and underestimate them, or try and smash them in the first leg and get it done with? I don't think. Honestly, this is like the team that I had on screen would probably be what I do, but I wouldn't. I'm slightly edging towards the fact I have a feeling he's going to go relatively unchanged. I think that the changes that we might see, if I was to predict something more like what I think we could see, I would go that being Colwell still, and then one of Badiashile and Tosin coming in. That still being Gusto. So in which case it would be more like this. Caicedo in for Lavia. KDH in for someone. I'm trying to think who it would be. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like this, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that. Less changes. You're obviously still resting like the big hitters that need rest. So Lavia, Fofana both need rest. They've both come off big injuries. Like you say, that could be Mudryk, that could be Neto. But yeah, I don't think he's going to want to change as much as we sort of think he will. I think there'll be some changes, but not as many as people are predicting. So we will see. Are we a bit light in defensive midfield with Leslie leaving? Lots of attacking eights, but really only Enzo, Caicedo and Lavia if we want to play more of a 4-2-3-1. I mean, Vega can play there too, even if you don't invert him. He can just play as a like nominal DM, and Dewsbury Hall can also do that. Not primarily, but he can do that. So I don't think I probably would have kept Leslie around, but and with Cassidy in the squad as well, who's more of an attacking eight, but he's also just adds a bit of height, a bit of physicality in the midfield. Yeah, I'm not overly worried about it, but I get where you're coming from for sure. But I'm not worried like the 4-2-3-1. Like we're not going to see. It doesn't really matter how you line up on paper because we're still going to see the same sort of shapes being built. Like as long as we've got one or two pivot players, and again, they don't both have to be defensive, right? So one of the pivot players can be more offensive, like an Enzo or a KDH. So I'm not overly worried about the midfield options. I'd rotate a little bit, but Wolves away will be tough. So we need to go full strength. Not sure the likes of Palmer, Lavia, etc. can do 3 games in a week. That's why mainly like Lavia and Fafana, especially, I'd protect them. Palmer, I think's okay. I think if you can edge it, like get him back into the flow of things, he's fairly durable. I think KDH definitely plays. Yeah, he was in the press conference today as well, wasn't he? So I would be surprised if he didn't play because he was the player press conference. If James and Vega both started together, not tomorrow, but in general, who do you think would invert into midfield and into defence? Really hard to say. Really hard to say because you could make a case for either way. I think it would depend on Reese's fitness. If he's fit enough to, like, if they prefer him sitting in there to sort of lead the back line, that could genuinely be one or the other. I'd be 50-50 on that. Maybe slightly towards Reese inverting and Vega staying as a centre back to add a bit more height, but that would be just a guess. I really like how tactically adaptable Maresca is. He's learned a lot from Leicester. But I told people this at the beginning. He's always been tactically adaptable. It's just people refused to see it. They thought, oh, he inverts a fullback every game. He must be stubborn. Plays the same way every game. But that was never the case. He always made different build-up shapes with his team. He always pressed in different manners in game to game. He changes things like a chessboard. He said that himself. So yeah, this is probably my predicted Uzir. Yes. Do you think in the big games in the PL, Palm will still play off the right? Unfortunately, yes. I hope not, but unfortunately, yes, I do. Is this? Yeah. So this is my predicted 11. Probably how I've got it here. What I sort of had on screen that I quite liked the look of before was, if you've only just joined, it was. Who else do we have? We had. That's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see. But I am not predicting that many changes because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 changes to the starting 11. And then obviously Neto came off the bench, KDH came off the bench. But it'd be 8 changes to the 11. The only starters that would be on the pitch would be Casado, Palmer, Jackson. The only 3. That would be the only 3. If we went into tomorrow's game with the lineup I've got up on screen now, out of 10, how confident would you be? I know it's only Servette, so pinch of salt, but out of 10, how confident would you be that this team gets a result tomorrow? And what would be your score prediction with this team? And then we'll put another team on screen, and I'll take the predictions again. But this team that we've got on screen now, out of 10, how confident you are, and a prediction on score. Palmer's an 8, Madueke off the right, and Mudryk on the left is what I'd do. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yo, what's up, Elias? Palmer on the right wing this season would really be a waste. I prefer him in central areas as well. You'd get a 10 with this. Nice. And you think 5-1. So this, Elias, is what I would do. And then in a minute, I'll show you the predicted lineup we had. So at the minute, I'm saying if we had this lineup on screen, out of 10, what you'd rate the team and a prediction on the score. So you'd say a 10-3-0. Footy Yap with a 5-1. It's got 2 5-1s instantly. We've also got a few 10 ratings for the team, so that's interesting. Quite like that. 3 or 4-0 from Azir. Should be 3 or 4-0. 10 out of 10, but it's Chelsea, so we never know. Ninja Gecko, nice. Pong seemed pretty iffy during pre-season off the bench for me. He had a few touches that were a bit off, but I think it's sort of integrating at a young age. I think that I have no issues with him. I have absolutely no doubts about his quality. So I have no issue playing him tomorrow, especially to give Gusto the rest that I think he needs. Gusto's one of the last players I'd be risking right now with Reese's sort of stature at the minute and his injury issues. Gusto's the last player. Because here's one for you. I didn't watch the under-21s game. I saw the highlights and obviously Shim and like players I'm tracking, but I didn't watch the whole game. What's your assessment of Achimpong as a player? Brilliant hybrid player, right back, right centre back, can hold width, has just freakish athleticism, and he's not on the squad list because that's the A squad list. The youth players will be on the B squad list, so they'll still travel. You really want a clean sheet? Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, as a player, I would say, like I say, just a brilliant hybrid. Have you seen this anywhere? Because, like I say, he wouldn't be on the A team, on the A squad list. He'd be on the B squad list. Same as Colwell. Colwell wasn't on the A squad list, I'm pretty sure, because he'd be with the homegrowns. But either way, Achimpong doesn't need to be on that squad list to confirm that he's and also travelling is at Stamford Bridge, so that doesn't matter either. But have you seen anything saying he's not going to be in the squad? Because I haven't. Late to the stream, liked it right away. Rajesh, my guy, thank you. If anybody hasn't already liked the stream, let's do a quick refresh because we was aiming for at least 50. We're now on 32, so we're 28 off. No, that's terrible maths. That'd be 60. We're 18 off of 50. Can we at least get to 50? 18 more likes with 60 people watching. We've also got about 300 people watching on Twitter. So even if you just quickly pop over to my YouTube, drop a like, there is the link to my YouTube in my profile. So all you have to do from Twitter, go onto my Twitter profile, click the link. It will come up that we're live streaming straight away. Drop a like, and then you can go straight back to Twitter and go about your day from there. Hopefully the fans can build a good atmosphere tomorrow. I hope so. Because it's not going to be quick. Like we are still going to play the same way. So hopefully it would be great for confidence if we just went 1-0 up early and sort of just get the fans behind us. The longer it goes 0-0, and if we start to let groans sort of like, it wouldn't worry me, but if those groans start to creep in early, it will just be a bit of a audacious watch. List just came out 22 minutes ago. Achimpong probably playing 121 match tomorrow. Okay, I didn't see that. So if that's the case, then I guess, like I said earlier, it's more likely to be Gusto, which is I don't want to see, but because I want him rested. But if that's the case, yeah, that's what I was saying, Jason. They don't need to be. I think he needs to give minutes to first teamers in this game, academy players for Conference League games after. Yeah, I agree. Lads, I'm there. Leave it with me. What's this to do with? Oh, you're at the bridge. Nice. Bridge will be rocking. Very good. Very good. Love the stream. Keep it up. My guy, Edward. Thank you. Just joined. Wow, might be over for my boy Mudryk if he can't even start in the Conference League. It's only to give Neto minutes. I would happily have Mudryk start this game for 60 and bring Neto on for 30. I'd happily do that. But I just want Neto to be fully ready for that Wolves game because he's an important part of this team. Yes, I will be watching Salzburg tonight. I might, depending on how long the stream goes for, I might miss it. The beginning anyway, like the first 5 minutes. But I'm going to be watching it, yeah. Will the group stage games be shown on TNT? Yeah, they should be. What seats? Matthew Harding lower is the best, by the way, just to say. Where else are we? What are we up to? Definitely needs to give minutes for 13 players. Yeah, so this is what I mean. I agree to an extent, which is why this would. So the team that we have here, that's what sort of like I would do. Again, I would have had Achimpong, but this is what I think we'll see. I think Colwell will start. I think Gusto will start. KDH will start, but that's still first team enough. This will be one of these two. I think Jackson will start. I think Palmer will start, but I think Palmer will probably start on the wing. And I think Nkunku or Enzo will probably start. So let's just put Enzo for now. If we saw something like this, I think this is more likely what we'd see. If I was to be really try and predict what we'd see. In fact, I'd probably actually say Cucurella as well. Because again, his minutes haven't been like through the roof. So I'd say maybe something like this. And do you know what? Just for the sake of it, let's put Mudryk there. And let's say Neto comes off the bench. now that we put that line up there, now what's that lineup out of 10? Or you prefer the shed upper? I'm Matthew Harding lower, personally. Wouldn't be important to play with the similar players. They're still looking to get used to this football. I did say this the other day too. Yeah, I agree. There's certain ones that I want rested though. So if we can help it, I'd rest Gusto. Fofana getting rested is good, and Lavia getting rested is very important as well. Everybody else, I'm more than happy to play. They're the three that I really want protected currently. Fofana, Lavia, Gusto. In terms of minutes and how important they are in terms of the positions that we already have injured. So like obviously Lavia and Fofana are more so because of their own injuries in the past. Gusto is more so because he has had a few knocks himself, like last season, and it's even more added pressure because we don't have Reece available currently. So that's why I protect those three more so. Madrid will start, Net will be on the right, possibly. Tosin surely starts for a replacement of Fana. Yeah, I think Tosin will start for Fana. I agree. Obviously, Dizassi's there too, so maybe we see something there. If Jorgensen does well in build up and keeps a clean sheet, any chance he's, in your opinion, he'll start versus Wolves? I don't think so. I think he starts both of these Conference League games, and I think Sanchez still needs to make sort of one mistake, or Jorgensen has to do it over multiple games to get the actual number one spot solidified. So I wouldn't say yet, no. I think Sanchez comes back in for Wolves. But I hope Jorgensen plays well because, yeah, I do long term, I do want Jorgensen to sort of take that. Palmer will be on the right hand 10. I really hope so. I really hope so. Where did Maresca use Palmer in the City Academy? More so off the right, but that was more so to do with just at the time, like McAtee and like the other lads that were playing in the middle of the park. Plus Palmer at that point was more of a right winger. And at that point as well, Maresca hadn't really like adapted his system to use like real touchline wingers. And Palmer obviously wasn't at the level where he needed to be on the ball to impact games. Like at academy level, he was still elite, sort of seen as an elite talent. But right now at Chelsea, with the form he's been in, he is seen as a talent that you can't leave out there to just not get the ball. You have to have him deeper and getting on the ball so that he can affect play at all times. Some of the passes he played the other day, I thought he was quite poor the other day, but some of the passes he played in isolation were brilliant. Like an absolutely world class pass into the box from this sort of area where Jackson took it off Enzo's toes, but beautiful. I think Enzo will rest, yeah, possibly. Again, I'd probably rest Enzo. Not being be all and end all, but I would probably rest him. Worried about injuries? Anything on distance covered sprints versus City compared to last season? I didn't really look at the distance covered, no, but it would have been lower, I'd imagine. Maybe in terms of like short distance sprints to recover the ball in this sort of area of the pitch. I don't know if you watched my video, but talking about the territory and how we sort of counter pressed really well in this sort of area. So yeah, watch that video for that. But I didn't see anything to specifically to do with the distance covered and sprint numbers. 12. I don't know what that's to do with. What's 12 to do with, is it? We should be comfortably beating Servette no matter the lineup unless you're trying to lose. Yeah, true. Vega maybe right back. I don't think so. Any chance Maresca ball can work with no? Can work with no. Don't know what that means, but Maresca ball in general, very happy with it. I don't know what you mean by that. Work with no though, if you can let me know. Got to go now, Connor. Thank you and see you soon. No worries at all, Sport Cat. Thanks for joining the stream. Oh, pardon me. Thanks for joining the stream. Would you risk Gusto for the Conference League with Reece being injured? I wouldn't, no. That's what I'm saying, Ravi. I wouldn't. But I think if I was to predict the lineup, what I've got on screen now is probably what I would predict. I'm very 50-50 on Neto or Madrid on the wing. That's what I'd predict. I'm not saying that's what How long did that disappear for? Thank you for letting me know in the chat. Yeah, thank you for letting me know in the chat. But I don't know what just happened there. But yeah, what websites do I use to watch back my games? It depends. I have people that I know. 20 seconds. Okay, that's okay, Ninja. So yeah, I was just saying that I have a sort of like a few contacts that obviously I can get tactical cams from. Have a few sort of like paid sort of apps and websites that I use for coding games and analysis work. So in terms of like programs and websites, there's not anything really specific, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, about 20 seconds is fine. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10. All good, all good. Let me check the how we're doing for the like count. 37 likes. Can we get 13 more likes? 13 more likes. I'm gonna give us 60 seconds and I'm gonna refresh. Surely that can get to at least over 40. We've got 64 people watching on YouTube and we've got 328 watching on Twitter. We've got 60 seconds to really quickly run over, drop a like, and leave. Really quickly. I'm going to refresh it again. And also, whilst I'm doing that, to everybody that has already liked in the chat, to the goats in the chat, I will hear you out as well, Soleil. Type what you're thinking in the chat. Also in the chat now, if you haven't typed your prediction with this lineup, if it would differ from the prediction that I asked for with the last lineup, do type that in the chat now as well. So what would your prediction be if this was the starting 11 on the pitch tomorrow night at Stamford Bridge? Let me know. That's not a bad shout. That really isn't a bad shout. I didn't think about that. And that's something that we've said about wanting to see. So that's not a bad shout at all. You could have Casado inverting from right back, Enzo deeper, and then that could be Nkunku. How fun would that be? Or even or that. That'd be very fun. Great shout, because I've wanted to see Casado inverting from right back. My main sort of thing about it has been what was I going to say? That Gusto and Reece are obviously two top tier players that we've already got the squad for that position. So the need for having him in there is lower, sort of lower up the pecking order. But this is a perfect game to try it. So 100%. 4-0, 4-0, 5-0. So a lot of people think with this lineup we keep a clean sheet. That's promising. James Garrett, hi Con, I love the streams and the general effort you're putting in. Really appreciate that, man. I'm trying to get at least a stream or a video out every single day at the minute. I'm really grinding to put more work out as well. So literally 9 to 5, I'm doing analysis and writing articles about not even just Chelsea, about all clubs in world football. And then from 5 p.m, I'm planning YouTube videos, I'm streaming, I'm doing all sorts of other work. So yeah, I'm really putting in a lot of effort at the minute. So like I say, every single like really does help, more than anybody else knows. So yeah, really appreciate that, James. In terms of the right back, right 8 and right wing with Esteval Pais included, like you say, because it's not relevant right now, but at some point I will definitely try and get into it for sure. Thank you very much for the kind support. Think you'll play with 3 centre backs, then attackers. You'll play with 3 centre backs and then. So what you think? How do you mean? So like sort of how I have it with Casado inverting, because that would be a 3, and then Casado technically playing as a midfielder. And Kunku defo rests, yeah. I wouldn't be annoyed about that at all. Probably the 4th guy that I'd list, like I was saying earlier. If I had to list the ones I wanted to rest, Lavia, Fofana, absolute guarantees. Gusto for me would be a precautionary rest. And Kunku's probably up there because of last season's injury issues as well. So yeah, good shout. We're at 44 likes, so that cry for likes did work. It did get us quite a few, but we are now 6 off of 50, which is very easy for us to grab. So if you haven't already, please do drop one. Get us to 50 likes before the end of the stream. Nearly 400 people in here. This is a wild shout, but what do you think about Casado inverting from left back with Enzo and Casado making a 2-3-5, not for this game, but just in general? I did speak about this in pre-season actually, so let's have a little toy around with it. So would you have it just to say for a back 4, for example? Would you do just for example this? Is that how you'd sort of do it? And then create essentially that, right? Is that sort of how you're envisioning it? Because I like that. I think it's got the counter pressing of these two. And like in big games, imagine the counter press ability of that. And it like that's just a joke. Like because the other day the praise that I wanted to put out there, the 3 players against City, and I said this yesterday, the counter pressing and the ability they give us to sustain pressure in the opposition half. Lavia, Cucurella, Caicedo, all 3 of them, so important. Caicedo didn't have his best game, but just his athleticism in there, like the 1-2 punch of these 2 in the midfield. If you get past 1, you're not getting past 2. If they're staggered and you've got to get past both, again, yes, there was openings where they could find themselves in sort of space, but especially in the counter press, those 2 together are lethal. And then after that, you've got the backup of Cucurella. To have the backup of Cucurella, and that's the thing you say about inverting Gusto, and you not wanting to see it tomorrow. Tomorrow, you could quite easily see it like this. That still creates that 2-3. Still has a very good, still gives you good protection on both flanks. And because they'll be inverted, they're ready to counter press the middle of the pitch. Got KDH in there for a bit more intensity in the middle of the park. Jackson hopefully ups it a bit in there as well. Mudryk and Madueke especially was showing his hard-working nature in the sort of more defensive winger role. So that would be a really fun lineup for tomorrow with Caicedo at right back. That's something I genuinely didn't even consider. And now I really want to see it, now that I've thought about it. Yeah, something like that. What's your thinking for Wolves? Any changes from City? So for Wolves, we're going to do a preview, but like just off the top of my head, it'd probably be pretty much the same, but Caicedo out, Enzo dropping in with Lavia, Caicedo not starting, and again, this is just purely on what I want to see balance-wise and currently. This is not to say like Caicedo's going to be important. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying purely just for Wolves. I'd take out Caicedo and I'd put Nkunku central and put Neto on the left. Other than that, I'd pretty much keep everything the same from Wolves. Yep. So pretty much Caicedo out, Enzo drops deeper, Nkunku central, Neto on the left instead of Nkunku on the left. So yeah, that's what I'd do against Wolves. I mean, I'd like Jorgensen as well against Wolves, but it's not going to happen. Sanchez is still going to keep that number 1 spot for at least a few more weeks, so I wouldn't hold your breath for that. It will be even better when Caicedo's fully fit, absolutely. Enzo and Jackson need game time together. Both must play to sharpen themselves. Maybe Vega should come on for Caicedo as a sub. Yeah, Vega could come on as a sub. I think Enzo's okay for minutes, though, really. I mean, I'd like to see him play again. And somebody made the point earlier, he probably is, in terms of being on the pitch, if Colwell isn't going to be on the pitch, could be important to have him on the pitch as a captain. So, good point there, too. But yeah, Vega could come off the bench. For me, you would go Jorgensen, Vega, Badiashile, Tosin, Caicedo, Enzo. So you're starting Caicedo at right back. Caicedo inverting into midfield with Enzo. KDH, Palmer, Madueke, Neto, Jackson. So yeah, Neto on the left, Madueke on the right, Palmer and KDH in the 2. Enzo, Caicedo in the pivot. Tosin, Badiashile, Vega with Jorgensen goal. I really like that Ninja Gecko. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be good. 2 direct 1v1 wingers. Really fun, sort of like to see Enzo with Caicedo inverting into the pivot. Palmer, we get to see Palmer on the inside in the 8. Vega gets a start. Yeah, so much about that lineup to like that Ninja Gecko's put on screen there. So much to like about it. For sure. Let me move this back into somewhat of a nominal, like what we'd more likely see. But that's the thing, we're going to be aggressive tomorrow too, right? So I wouldn't even be surprised tomorrow, depending on how much we keep the ball, if we start like this, but we start to see sort of more of a more of something like this, right? So if this was the lineup, for example, sort of create that 3-1. Enzo sort of still here, like sort of staggering his height, receiving in here, moving into here, for example. KDH playing a lot closer to the striker to receive between the lines. Palmer as well dropping in. So we could even see that diamond at times because of how low a block they could play. But it also depends on how they come out and press us. I still do think we'll start like this. But yeah, it depends how they come out and press. How aggressive, how passive, for example. Do you think Enzo is as bad as people were saying against City? For me, people made him a scapegoat when he wasn't even that bad. He had bad aspects of the game. I think he had some really poor touches in very criticisable areas, which is why I think he got scapegoated. And I do agree. I think people went over the top on it because he had a good few chances in and around the box, which isn't his game anyway. But that was easy to jump on, and he could have done better. The touches were poor, but his passing out from the midfield, he had some really good sort of progressive passes out to the wing, some long balls out to Gusto, even one through to Jackson. Like, we created chances from him being in there. But the main things as well is people don't like seeing him in that role, pressing as that sort of secondary striker as like a 10, which I agree with. So that bit's not ideal. And his pressing intensity isn't great. So there is parts of the game that weren't good from Enzo, and that made it easy to scapegoat him, especially when he had some poor touches in and around the box. But yeah, I do think it went a tiny bit over the top. So he looked a bit rusty and not sharp. I think he suits the 8 role more than people think, and once he gets sharper, he can do great. I think the 8 role, it depends, like, sort of between the two. I think, again, like, in the first half, I actually think it worked fairly well. I think in the second half, when we sort of started to sustain more and more pressure, I think it would have made more sense to take Enzo off than Lavia and keep sustaining the pressure with Lavia and Caicedo pushed higher and bring on sort of a more attacking number 10 who's better between the lines in these areas. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it was as bad as people made out. With Lavia and Caicedo shielding, Enzo should be given more chances number 8 and allow him to make risky passes. Yeah, I agree. The only problem is that you don't really need all 3 of them against low block opposition, but against high end opposition, so like Arsenal away and City away this season, I would still be tempted to go into those games with all 3 playing. And a lot of people said they don't want to see that 3 ever again as a 3. I don't agree with that notion, because I do think that against certain teams, more so literally just Arsenal and City away from home, I would go into those games with all 3 of them. Enzo playing slightly more advanced, but with the license to drop in and make a 3 and sort of create that that sort of 3-3-4 that we spoke about in pre-season. And like you say, give Enzo that license to sort of make passes forwards. Keep messing up now. There we go. But yeah. Apparently Lavia's sub was fitness related. Read that he was really tired. Yeah, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough, because he did put a real big shift in. He was excellent. Lavia was my man of the match for us, at least. He was our best player on the pitch, in my opinion. I was really happy with Lavia, despite people saying about he had a few lapses, and I agree. I was really happy with Fofana as well, and Kukurea as well. Again, despite getting sort of done by Savia a few times out wide in these areas, again, I just thought he was so important to the counter press, his aggression, sort of his positioning in the rest defence, to sort of being in around here to sort of keep that ball. Every time it was coming into these areas, he was winning it, and we were keeping the ball sustained in their half. So Kukurea for me he had a good performance. He was important. It was an important performance, if not good. Want to see a Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo, Palmer in a box diamond versus a team where we'll dominate the ball more. Yeah, if you could have Palmer at the top of the diamond, you could sort of make that. That's a fun diamond, because you have Palmer playing close to the striker. You have these two sort of, again, dropping into the pockets. If one drops in, one can advance a tiny bit, and you can sort of make it asymmetrical, vice versa. Lavia is sort of your protector. So yeah, I do agree. That would be a fun diamond. It really would. Yeah, it really would. Especially, imagine that was Osman, and you have Palmer literally just being able to use Osman's gravity, sort of the defender not wanting to come off Osman, both defenders pretty much wanting to stay with him. Palmer just being able to drop in, pick up the ball, drop in, pick up the ball. And yeah, that would work really well. Especially when they're playing parallel to each other like this. Makes it very hard for the defender to jump out, because if they do, they leave a big gap for Jackson to exploit either side. That's one thing that's brilliant about the diamond, especially with the player at the top of the diamond. Like that diamond structure, but isn't Palmer more effective in the half space? Yes, but the thing is with this is obviously they can move side to side in the diamond. So the idea is if he comes here, Jackson goes here, or they can sort of move parallel and create these scenarios too. Vice versa, if Palmer drops into here to receive the ball, Jackson can even make a run away to drag players out, or he can run here to create that parallel positioning so that Palmer's harder to mark. So yeah, it's tough, because yeah, like you say, Palmer's also really effective dropping into here. Because what I love about Palmer when he drops into that area of the pitch is he can play that ball pretty much anywhere. He can play from here, he can play it through to here, or if they're trying to stop that specifically, he can just drive. So what we've lacked in that area of the pitch, and Nkunku can do it too, which is why he's brilliant when he's in these areas too. Less creative with his passing, but he can drive that ball forward himself, and he can create for himself on the outside of a block, which is important to have in that midfield, at least in one of the positions, at least with one of them, which I think Casado can also add to his game, because he's got the sort of frame, the guile, and the sort of agility to carry, and he shows it too. So yeah, we've sort of gone off topic from Servette though. We've sort of gone into like formation talk now, which I don't mind because it is fun. But I'll probably end this in a few minutes. Need to go eat, and RB Salzburg has just started, so I'll take one or two more questions, and I'll quickly check the likes before we end the stream. We're at 50, so perfectly done. We've executed the 50 like mark. Considering we're under an hour, I will take that. Over 400 people watching. As I always say, when I end the stream, even if it takes you 2 seconds to just pop over to the YouTube, drop a like on it, and then you can go back to Twitter and continue scrolling through the João Felix announcement videos and all of those. But please do help me out. Drop a like, and it does help, as I said, because this will go out as a video after the stream. And from there, people can, of course, rewatch the stream back, watch the video, and see what we had to say in this stream. But I think it's been a really enjoyable stream. Let's see what the lineup is tomorrow. Tomorrow, I might have a stream during the day, before the game as well. More so just sort of a Chelsea chat talk sort of thing. No real topic, just to sort of have a bit of a Q&A. Might start doing those one a week and just call it like Chelsea Chatter or something. Make that a new show, make it like a once a week show. Then where will we go from there? Then tomorrow night after the game, I'll get the things we learnt video out, and then Friday we will also have a preview for Wolves. So still plenty of content to come this week. So do keep an eye out. Should still be at least 3 pieces of content to come, all before Saturday. So as I say, keep an eye out for that. Quickly answer these 2 questions. Do you think of doing tactical posts? Yes, I do. I do try to do a lot more tactical posts for things non-Chelsea. So like you say, with Lille yesterday and Salzburg today. Probably won't have the time today with Salzburg. I will still watch the game though, and I might put some thoughts. I did it the other day with Juve. If you go back on my Twitter page, you can probably find it. Did like a big sort of thoughts from the Juve Como game, because they're 2 teams that I'm watching quite intensely this season for work purposes for the Serie A. So yeah, I will be doing a lot more. So like I say, if you haven't followed me on X either, Twitter, X, follow me on there, because I post a lot to do with just general football tactics, not just all Chelsea. So do watch that. And I'm also going to try and bring some videos and streams about other teams as well as we go along. But of course, my Chelsea stuff does do much better. But I appreciate everybody that supports the content, even if it's not just Chelsea related. I appreciate it when people support non-Chelsea related content as well, because it allows me to do more and expand. So I do really appreciate that. Please help me tell Chelsea coach not to use Sanchez to keep it for matches, please. I do think long term he's going to be replaced, but patience, because I do think he'll play for the next few Prem games at least. Who's the player to watch for Salzburg today? Oh, I haven't seen the lineup, but Gorna Due is really good. Let me check the lineup just to make sure he's playing. Gorna Due is really good. He's like the main one to watch there for me. But there is a few. Let me just quickly check the lineup whilst we're on stream. Ivan, never missing a post. Yeah, you are always liking the tweets. Always one of, if not the first person to be in this chat every single day when I go live. So, yeah, you one of the goats for sure, Ivan. One of the goats for sure. Right, who is in the lineup? Gorna Due is playing, and so is Glock as well. Oscar Glock. He's another one that I'm watching very closely. Left winger, very good. And then Kjaegaard as well. I'm not as caught up on him, but he's been really good. So it's sort of like he's sprouted into my mind. But the main reason I'm watching Salzburg is those 2 players, Gorna Due, Glock, which I can't pronounce, and then Pep Blinders, the actual manager, which is another reason I'm watching them so closely. So we are going to leave the stream there. As I said, nearly an hour mark. Please do drop a like if you haven't already. Please do continue to support the streams, the YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow with another stream, another video, and then the preview on Friday. So plenty of content to come. Drop a like. I'll speak to everybody on Twitter. If you want to continue talking today, just interact with my tweets, because I'm sure I'll tweet plenty of times before the end of the night. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.